Hey, it's Cody. This is a video I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get hate for. I'll be honest, I don't give a shit. This, I think that I've mentioned before on this channel. I mean, just kidding. I know for a fact that I've mentioned on this channel before that lately, the last couple months or so, I've been feeling more and more bothered by just the rampant consumerism that's taken hold of sort of the tarot community and witchcraft communities and like really just everything, honestly. Um, but in my little corner over here, I have noticed it really just going ham in tarot kind of spaces. You know, you get on, and no hate to people doing this. I have done it, and I will do it again when I get a deck that I'm really excited about. But unboxings and positive reviews, or people doing reviews that feel like they can't say something negative about it because they were like sent it for free or something, or like there's I don't do that one, but it's one of those things where it's constantly the whole FOMO situation, the fear of missing out, and people just buying things because they see somebody else had it, and that has gotten me before. I literally have the Smoke Ash and Embers and Oak Ash and Thorn Tarot because of this. Like, I saw other people that liked it. I knew for myself that I was not really something about it wasn't speaking to me personally, but I got it anyway. Like, that I think really was one of my lessons. But lately I just been feeling really like, I don't know, man. I feel bad about like my own like tarot fucking library. Because I've got fucking too much, man. I just really do. So this is a fun, lighthearted video, okay? This is in jest, okay? But I am here to de-influence you from some of my favorite decks. Now, fucking disclaimers here, all right? These are some of my top fucking favorite decks still. I have 6 decks here. They are all mass market. They are all popular mass market. They're older. But anything I say on here really isn't going to affect the bottom line of how well these decks do or do not sell. And I wouldn't do this to, even a new mass market deck that came out, but certainly not anything independent, okay? This is just me telling you about my favorite older mass market decks and trying to de-influence you from buying them, okay? These are reasons I'm going to tell you that you don't need to buy these, okay? It's... If you want to get mad in the comments, understand that I will screenshot them and laugh at them with other people. So even if you do delete it, screenshots are forever, so... All right, here's the first deck that I'm going to talk about and the reason that you don't need it. Okay, this is the Raven's Prophecy Tarot by Maggie Stiefvater. Now, Maggie Stiefvater was for a while there one of my favorite authors. Really, though, I've read, I think, most of her other works, and really the only thing that I liked by her, unfortunately, was a 4-book series called The Raven Cycle. Now, this deck sort of goes with those books, okay? Now, it doesn't have to, but it sort of does, right? It's still set in this world. Like, there is a scene where this mask is happening. Oh my god, ignore the fact that I taped this rip card back together. This is a scene from the book. Like this rose with extra thorns and shit on it, that is a thing that is happening in the book. Like, I super love these books. I recommend these books. They're young adult, but they're still definitely the kind of thing, like, it was before it was all about romance the way that it kind of is now. And it's really just I think it's very well done. The ideas are just, some of it's really a mind fuck, okay? But that being said, okay, damn, I'm really fucking this up here. All right, hold on. This deck was designed with the idea in mind that you could, if you wanted, just use this without knowledge of the books. Which I think was a good way to go with this. But if you have read the books, it really adds such a depth to this deck. And I will admit, I can't really imagine using this deck and loving it the way that I do if I had not read the books. Okay? So my de-influencing point here is, realistically, to really get the most out of this deck, you really should read a 4-book series that also, that this deck is set in the world of. Okay? It's work, right? I mean, the books are enjoyable. I love them. But it's a lot more than the guidebook Like, this is a scene that will stick in my mind for the rest of my life. Like, yeah. It's, like, these cards mean something to me that's different than just, okay, that's the Emperor. Like, I don't know how to explain it. I'm not saying that you can't use the deck without having read the books, but personally, I wouldn't recommend it. Like, I really think you should just go ahead and do it. All right? So my de-influencing point for this is there's a lot of reading involved to really get the most out of this deck. Also, I think this is probably my all-time top favorite deck. Like, I still reach for this all the time. I don't post it so much on Instagram or things like that just because, like, it's really... It's seen better days. I've got the ripped card that's taped. I've got more than one. There's also a card that I have in here. Here she is. It's a character from the books. It's different on the back because this was a limited edition thing that came with a paperback copy of one of the books. So I literally have a hardback and a paperback copy of The Raven King because I wanted this fucking card. And then to piss me off further, it was orange on the back and it was also a different size, so I had to very, very carefully trim it to fit. Also, I did not pull out the other Page of Swords because since I've read the books, this card means kind of something different to me. So yeah, unless you want to read, you know, fourth, at least 200-page books, you don't need this. Okay, next. One of the first decks I feel like I ever really got in a different way. Like, this deck almost taught me how to read tarot. Like, in the way of, like, feeling and intuition, sort of. And that is the good old Deviant Moon. This is a new copy of it. I had an old copy, like... I'm talking first edition copy, that I had cut the white borders off of with scissors very horribly, like, years ago. I don't know why, I mean, I do know why I did it, but I wish that I had not. And they were so uneven, it was so fucked up. And I finally ended up, deciding to go ahead and order a borderless one. I'll tell you, if you're not particularly into steampunk shit, don't worry about it, okay? You can pass this. Also, these figures are just creepy. For me, personally, I love that about it. Also, I will say, alright, the little white book. I don't have the big, like, hardback book, whatever, that came out with this. Came out for this, in more recent... in more recent years. I don't have that, and I'm not gonna get it. The little white book skews negative. All of these cards are, you know... the negative meaning of it. So if you're someone who, you know, doesn't always want bad news, even if you don't mind the creepy ass drawings, which I personally am super into, but, yeah, we're skewing negative on all these cards. Like, this card doesn't need to be skewed in any way. It's fine. It's obviously the Three of Swords, but, like, this is creepy. I mean, I guess that's a negative card too. It's just... It's also has, like, a smart-ass sort of energy to it. Like, if this is you asking the question, this is the fucking deck plugging its ears. Like, it just has, like, this trickster sort of energy and almost maybe a real unreliable narrator sort of feel. It's the kind of deck that you have to be ready for its sense of humor. And that can make it challenging occasionally to work with, just because, like, if I was actually, like, super really upset about something, this is not a deck that I would go to. It's gonna be a dickhead about it. So yeah, that is my de-influencing point for Deviant Moon. Alright, next up is the Tarot of Vampires, I believe it's called. Fuck. Yeah, by Ian Daniels. This is an old favorite. I colored the edges of it. My number one de-influencing point for this is just the cringe factor. It is, like, I don't remember what year this came out. Does it have any? No, it doesn't have any writing on it. And it's just very, it almost feels more like, not necessarily 90s, just really early 2000s sort of, feeling with the vampire shit. Like, I kind of feel like if you just vaguely like vampires, then this is just not the deck for you. I literally have this huge book I probably should have grabbed because it's funny. talking about like vampire lore throughout the years and sort of how things came about being part of like just the lore of vampires in general. I mean, I bought that shit in high school. I have been a vampire bitch, okay? And this shit, like some of it, honestly, like there's some part of me that loves this cheesy ass shit, but then another part of me is like, oh my god, what is this? My daughter likes this, and she's like, is that fucking Edward? And you know what? It might be, because I'm pretty sure there's one that's Bella in here too. And this was after the Twilight movies came out here. So it's just, there's something about this. It's almost nostalgic, I think, in the way that I am attracted to using this deck. But I think for probably younger people, it's just one of those things that's cringe to see. Like, this shit, what the fuck? Like, what is going on? Yeah, it's a lot. It's fucking dramatic. It's just... Yeah. Definitely. It's the cringe for me, so... Alright. Next... This is, oh my god, I just forgot, Tarot of the Hidden Realm by Julia Jeffrey, or Jeffries, because I can never remember if it's one Jeffrey or multiple Jeffries. Alright, this deck. Now, I do know that people like to complain about this deck because they don't like the faces of it, and yeah. I actually went a long time before even purchasing this deck or even considering getting this deck. Oh my god, this is one of my top hated cards in this deck. My mother, when I was a child, used to watch a soap opera with some guy that looked exactly like that, and I don't know how to find him or his name or like what he looks like now, but I hate that card so bad. There's a de-influencing point for you. But yeah, they didn't like, a lot of people don't like the faces. I didn't buy it because of the faces being so up close, like they're looking at you. Oh my god, I hate this card so bad. Some of these cards just are awful and speak for themselves as far as de-influencing, but it is a very like personal deck, and it's something about reading from it is just kind of vague. Like, this is a deck of Fae, right? And it's just one of those things where it doesn't really go straight for what it's trying to tell you. I don't know. It can be kind of an uncomfortable experience. I don't like being perceived, so I don't appreciate like these people up close looking at me. Yeah, sorry. I just thought of like 6 good things I was about to say about this deck, but no, I must refrain. I'm de-influencing. So yeah, I've seen complaints of like the lack of contrast. I don't know. For me, it is the face thing. And, like, the repeated models is kind of jarring sometimes, just because, like, this guy's been in here multiple times. I don't know if you... Let's pull him out here. And it's kind of like you almost get used to that person being that card, and then it feels weird to see them. Oh my god, where are all the cards with this guy? It feels weird to see them on another card. Does that even make sense? I don't... Like, I'm really sensitive to that, I think, because there was another deck that really pissed me off. Here he is again. We'll look at him in a minute. Another deck that pissed me off that was like, it was, what's the word I'm looking for? Where they do the art on the computer instead of like by hand. What the fuck is that called? What? Why can't I think of it? I can't think of words. Holy shit. But it was the exact same... Pretty sure it's the same lady. The exact same faces. And I don't mean like it was the same person as a model. It was literally identical, like, face just slapped on to several cards. And that was too distracting to me. That felt lazy. This doesn't necessarily feel lazy to me, but for some reason it's distracting to see, like, I feel like the person sort of almost... is part of the card, and then to see like this guy, there's a bunch of them in there, this girl's in a bunch of them too, just being repeated across a bunch of the cards strikes me. I don't know, like they're obviously very different pieces of artwork, just it being the same person for some reason throws me. So let's put all that back in there. De-influenced. Okay, I've got 2 more. this one is an Oracle deck, and this is Brian Froud's Fairies Oracle. I kind of have quite a few complaints about this deck, actually. The first one being this fucking font. Like, what is going on? Horrible font. People bitch about the card stock. I'm not that worried about the card stock. I will say, okay, now people are probably going to disagree with me here. I find the guidebook corny. I understand kind of why. It's written in a way as in, I believe there was like a team of people who would look at these like this was pre-existing artwork, right? Sort of fit into an Oracle deck of Brian Froud's artwork, and they would have people. Wow, is this card fucked up? Yeah, I've had this for a long time. Okay, they would try and like kind of connect with the subject of the paintings and be like, you know, what are you about? What do you want? It's just some of it I find incredibly corny in there. I struggle a little bit with the guidebook. I don't like this font. Even though I really love some of the artwork, I think is stunning. I have like a book. Fuck, I forgot what it's even called. It might just be called Fairies, just specifically of Brian Froud's artwork that I've had for a long time. I don't like these cards. Like, what even was the inclusion of these? I don't understand putting those in there. I mean, really, the man's got a lot of fucking artwork. But here's the main thing. I don't like, okay, Brian Froud, and I believe his wife, used to have some sort of like fairy, I don't know, some sort of gathering or something like that. I don't know if I'm picturing kind of like a Renaissance festival kind of thing, but it probably wasn't quite like that. But the point is they backed away from having like witchcraft kind of things there. So I'm not sure who they thought was buying their shit or supporting them, but that it honestly leaves kind of a bad taste in my mouth. I don't pull this deck out as much anymore since I found out about that. And I don't know even how recent that was. I think it was a while ago. But yeah, I do find that kind of disappointing. Just to be like, you know, we don't want this shit here at this little festival or whatever the fuck they were doing. But like that's who your fan base was. So I don't know, man. That makes me feel weird. On top of this, my other complaints with the deck, the cardboard. Wow. Cardboard. The cardstock is very, like, literally these are like if index cards were shiny, maybe not even as thick, and it's not a resilient cardstock. Okay, like you riffle shuffle it once and they're bent. Yeah. So actually, I have this in my favorite decks, but I'm just not sure actually how favorite this one is to me. Yeah. I mean, beautiful artwork though. Okay, the last one is, oh my god, I have these decks like so precariously stacked right here. All right, the final deck that I'm de-influencing you from is the Marielle Tarot. This deck is a lot. I don't even actually pull it out that often just because this is one of those decks that feels like it only wants to answer big questions to me. And that's not always something I need a bunch of, if that makes any sense. I guess I could flip through those. It wants to talk about huge energy shifts. Like, even if I'm reading for myself or for someone else, they generally want something a little bit smaller and closer to home. Like, this, for me personally, is not the kind of deck you would ask, like, a relationship question. Or, like, what should I do with my career? Like, this will be like, what is the fucking political climate of, like, you know what I mean? To me, this deck is just like that. Also, another thing that I will say is this deck is based upon Christian mythology, specifically the Book of Revelations. So it's kind of like, I didn't grow up Christian. I knew Christians existed. It's actually been news to me as an adult, like how Christian some people are. I thought it was like an old thing that people just kind of like reference every once in a while, but not that there were legitimately people that were actually like believing it so hard they would like fuck other people over the shit. So learning that's been a wild fucking ride, but a lot of people really don't want Christianity and like biblical kind of stuff mixed with their witchcraft, and I have to say, for the most part, I agree with that. Like, some of these are literally biblical things. Of course it's skewed, right? It's about the fucking Book of Revelations, fucking Armageddon, the end of the fucking world. Like, it definitely isn't Christian in the way of like a Christian would be super pissed to see this deck. And the way that, you know, it's being used. But this is a first edition. It still sometimes feels a little bit uncomfortable. I think especially if people were Christian and or, you know, Catholic and had religious trauma from that, to be trying to escape from that and then run into this in, you know, a space, a tarot sort of space. You know what I mean? Like, I understand there are Christian influences and the Christian mysticism and fucking all that shit. Okay, I don't need to hear all that shit. What I'm saying is the outright, straight up Christian influence of this. I think that some people get this deck and are surprised by that in the guidebook, because it's not really advertised that way, and I think that's on purpose. But yeah, so I think the Christian ties to this are probably the biggest de-influencing point that I have for this deck. Again, I will finish this video by saying, I don't know why I just pick a card I like to be on the top. These are decks that I love, decks that I regularly use. I am just, if you've, you know, if you've been thinking about any of these decks and getting them or considering it, you know, maybe reconsider, because there's not always... Decks aren't always marketed the way that they truly are, if that makes sense. And of course, I mean, they're trying to sell the thing to you. They're not, like, gonna be like, yeah, this is a thing that people might not be really comfortable with. So I'm just gonna share it right up front. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Anyway, this was just my little, drop in the bucket of, you know, maybe you don't need to buy all the decks that you've ever seen like one card from that you liked, or, you know, I don't know. Hopefully I de-influence you from something here, and if not, fuck it, I guess, but I feel better now, so thanks for watching, bye.